Hey guys, doing some more questions from the gram. Let's get into it. And again, this is a long one. Seems like I say that every time now, but let's see if I can cut this down a little bit. Okay, so Dr. Rich, I just saw your IGTV on separated men. So my story is crazy. Right now I'm in limbo. I met this guy 4 years ago. We started going to see music shows together as we both enjoyed hip hop. I used to say how cool it was. His wife was fine with us hanging out. I'm sure she was. He said things aren't great on the wife front. Anyway, fast forward a few months of not seeing him much. We went to see a hip hop movie that I invited him to, and then he reached out and held my hand. I freaked. Then I told him after the movie he shouldn't do that because he's got a wife. Well, hell, he know he got a wife. He knew that before he went to the movie. He said it's complicated. It's complicated, but they are separating. Then I wasn't sure what to do. A few months later, we hung out more and it got physical. He said he loves me, etc., etc., but he's living at his family's house. Then I broke up with him and I went to India. Damn, this sounds like it was a hell of a breakup. Okay. Went to India, came back, and he had moved out. Then we kind of got together again, and then we kind of were apart again. He moved back into his family home. Then 2019 in the year, I was traveling and he had moved out for good. I think his lawnmower was still there though. At least you got a sense of humor about it. I love this. Anyway, he moved out, is separated, and all of his friends and family know. He bought a car for himself, which was awesome. And fast forward to now, it's about 10 months later, he's yet to get a divorce. He is seeing a therapist for issues of guilt regarding his family and towards me, so I'm happy for that, that he's sorting his life out mentally. But recently he had a crisis. His mom was in an accident, his auntie got sick, and I think he has depression and he can't deal with his emotional blips in life and in work. His usual way of dealing with it is to ditch his phone and withdraw for days, leaving me worried and upset while he heals. He's very kind and empathetic, but I'm struggling with all the drama and not being replied to on the phone. Do you think she cut ties? Oh wait, she says she's stressed. Oh, but there's more. Hold on. Oh, but the biggest but is that he hasn't introduced me to his family or children. Yes, kids. He says his therapist thought it was a good idea to go slow with me, which I get, but how slow? He said if he tells one person in his family or friends, then everyone will start to hear about it. He says he wants to feel comfortable and tell everyone at once. So now, there we go. Okay. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Probably, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually very, very simple. Number one, first thing, ladies, when a guy tells you his situation is complicated, right? Complicated. That is the pretext for you to know there are going to be some things about his life that he's not ready to tell you, right? That means, and it's not necessarily he wants to lie to you about it. That just means there are some things going on in his life that he is not comfortable sharing all of that with you. Well, number one, because he thinks maybe you're going to reject it, you're not going to accept it. Or maybe, and this is the thing underneath all of that, maybe there's some shame there, right? He's coming out of a failed relationship. For most folks, that's going to be the biggest failure in your life, your failed first relationship with your spouse. That's a big deal, right? And so there's some shame there. I did something wrong. I wasn't enough in this area, right? There's some loose ends I still have to tie up. So whenever a guy says it's complicated, right? Whatever the reason, it's complicated. I've been hurt before, so now I'm comfortable with my heart, It's complicated. We're living separate but equal lives. So it's complicated. We're divorced, but we're still living together. It's complicated because I'm just trying to figure, whatever the situation is, that just means you're going to have to be very patient and move forward in this situation. Now, Mr. Man, to you, here's what I do like about this question. It sounds like you got a dude. He doesn't sound like a bad guy. Doesn't sound like he lied to you all the way. It sounds like there were some things that you needed to figure out along, but he's trying to figure his life out. He's got a therapist. He don't have a preacher who he's talking to. He don't have a pastor he's talking to for pastoral counseling. Two totally different things. I get it. I dig it. Go talk to your pastor. But when it's time to figure your life out and move forward, you want a professional who is trained to help you figure your life out and move forward. So he's got a professional therapist. And I love that. So let's step back and let's applaud him, a guy, a dude, for doing that. So now, Miss Lady, what you got to do is you've got to be patient enough to allow him the space to do that, right? He's trying to show up better in 2021 than he did in 2020. He's trying to show up better in his next relationship than he did in his last relationship. Maybe that means he wants to show up better for you. Maybe that means he wants to show up better for his kids. Maybe that just means he wants to show up better for himself, right? Whatever that is, we've got to allow him the space and the time and the encouragement to do that. So just pump your brakes on that part, right? What's next? Oh, well, the thing of it is, my mom used to say, son, the thing that's meant for you, you'll never miss it. And so, Miss Lady, I will tell you the same thing that my mom told me. If this is meant for you, you won't miss it, right? I went to your Instagram. I see you, right? You're young, you're creative, and you're beautiful. The guy that's meant for you, you'll never, ever miss it. When I see your pictures, when I scroll through your feed, I see young, I see energetic, I see joy, I see beauty. Now, that's what I see. Question is, what do you see? Because if not the same, then you've got some work to do, right? But here's what I like about where you are, right? It sounds like you got a good perspective on this. You got a good grasp. You're not in too deep. You're not being torn apart by turmoil. You got a good sense of humor about it. And so I think you're in a good place. I think what you need to do now is allow this guy the time and the distance to figure his life out, right? It takes a guy about 9 to 12 months to get over a hard breakup. Longer than that after a divorce. So he's gonna take that time, and you gotta give him that time before he's ready to recommit to anything fully. And you want that time, because what you don't want is for him to introduce you to anybody in his family in the next 12 months. Any woman he brings into his life in the next 12 months, immediately after his divorce, they will simply refer to you as that bitch who broke up his marriage. And you don't want that, because you aren't that. That's not who you are, right? And that's not how you want to show up in this relationship. So give him the time to figure it out. If he circles back, great. If he doesn't, great, right? You had what you had for a time and it was good. And sometimes that time comes to an end and you move forward. And sometimes that road continues to converge and you move forward together. Either way, you're going to be okay. So understand that. The other thing I want guys to understand about this is, look at how much women think about your life, right? You were separated, kicking it with this young lady. You know, wasn't all that serious. Sometimes it was physical, sometimes it was not. But look how much she's thought about your life. She's thought about your life. She's thought about your wife. She's thought about your kids. She's thought about your family. She thinks about your lawnmower, and she knows when you move it and when you don't. I say that to say this, guys. I don't care how complicated your situation is. She's gonna figure it out. They always figure it out, man. So the sooner you're comfortable being vulnerable and allowing her into that, right, the sooner you guys can kind of move forward on the same page. No matter how complicated it is, it's not a new situation under the sun, right? People have been doing this ever since relationships have been. They will continue to do it as long as we have these things called relationships. And so it's never too complicated for another person to figure out. You've got to trust her and give her the respect that she's going to handle that with care and love and tenderness and all these things so you guys can move forward. So, Miss Lady, I think you're all right. I think you're going to be fine. Just give him some time. Give him some space. Give him some distance, right? And let him figure it out, because he's taking the steps to do it the right way. He's trying. He's trying to show up better. And now for you, your job is not to rush that process, right? It's like cooking a Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, you know, it's like cooking it. It's like a fine wine. It's got to age in it, and you can't rush the process. Don't rush his process. Don't rush his procedure. Let him come of age in his own time. And then that may lead to time you guys spend together, or it may lead to time that you just had together. Either way, you're going to be fine. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.